While the roster looks good, the 2024-25 season will have plenty of challenges. We're going to share what our top 3 uphill battles are for Nashville on today's Locked On Predators podcast.
You're Locked On Predators, your daily podcast on the Nashville Predators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Predators podcast, and thank you for making us your first listen of the day. We are your free daily Nashville Predators podcast. We're a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Want to kick off this episode with a shout out to our Locked On Pred heads. Those are our everyday listeners who tune in each and every day to talk Nashville Predators hockey with us. We appreciate your support, and we love that we get to spend a little bit of our day with you. I'm Ann Kimmel. I am a writer with Penalty Box Radio, and my friends, I have 2 partners in crime today.
Yeah, you do. I am Emma Lingen. I'm the Predators site editor and reporter for the Hockey News, and this is my co-editor, Minka.
Minka, that's right. She has big feels on today's show, where we are going to talk about some of the challenges the Nashville Predators could face in 2024-25. Some of them are challenges they're going to have to overcome. Some of them are challenges they are just going to have to bear up under. We're going to talk about that, and we are going to play a fun, quick August-themed game of Takes from a Hat. Before we dive into all of that today, want to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. As playoffs wind down, the sports stop sportsing like we want them to. But this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There is something for everyone, every day, all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. All right, Emma, I know on a previous episode, you said that you are a pessimist, and then you turned out to be super optimistic in that episode, but that's okay. But today we are going to take maybe not necessarily a more pessimistic look, but a real honest look at the fact that there are some challenges that are going to be facing the Nashville Predators, despite this absolutely chef's kiss roster that Barry Trotz has put together. There are some challenges they're going to face next season. Some they're going to have to just work it out, and some they're just going to have to bear up under. So do you want to kick us off with what you think is going to be one of the big challenges for the Predators this next season?
Sure. I think this is kind of a broad one, and it's technically not really the season. It's more of the preseason, but I think it's the big pink elephant in the room right now is they have got to get the salary cap situation under control.
Yeah.
And that kind of mushrooms into some other issues because you still have these RFAs like Juuso Parssinen, Mark Del Gaizo, Philip Tomasino, who have still not been signed to new deals, or at least new deals have not been announced because they can't fit them under the cap, and someone's going to have to go. And it's kind of this weird limbo that we've been in for a while now. And so I think that the salary cap is the root of the issue, but the bigger issue is you got to figure out your roster, composition and figure out which pieces are going to be parts of future and which ones aren't.
Yeah. And you and I have talked about that. We kind of are sitting here waiting to say, okay, the next moves are probably going to be subtractions. Who are you subtracting? Because like you said, you have got to be looking at these RFAs and wanting to get something done there, but you can't do it until you subtract. And of course, we've talked about Dante Fabra. We've talked about Cody Glass and how that all plays out. But it's kind of like my grandmother used to say in slightly more colorful terms, you have to poop or get off the pot. And we're coming to that time with Barry Trotz where, the money there's a deadline for the money. This isn't just like, we're going to kind of like work it out until we can there's a deadline. There's a dollar amount and a deadline, and you got to make some tough calls.
because I think, part of it is like, yes, technically now they can be over the cap because it's still the off season, but it's just like, well, you figure it out, get it under the cap by October, you're fine. Technically, yes, but the bigger issue here is that, again, those pieces that you're going to be subtracting, for their sake, you want to give them a fighting chance on whatever new team they're on to like get acclimated with their new team, and B, for you want to give everyone else on the Predators a more firm understanding of like, okay, this is our team, this is who we've got, this is what we're working with here. And I think that starts in training camp. And so just to get everyone in the right mindset, I think it's important. You're going to make those subtractions, which the Predators are going to have to make them now.
Yeah. Absolutely. I agree. And eventually, 2-3 seasons from now, the cap is going to go up. They're going to have some of that dead cap reduced or off the books. So this isn't going to be a long-term problem. But right now, they've got to be having some conversations. And I agree with you. I think if you are going to subtract, you need to do it soon. You need to give other teams an opportunity to look at who you may be moving and figure out where that player is going to fit with another team. And they've got to be able to find the catch up at Walmart, like we've talked about, like, just on and off the ice. You've got to do that. And I agree with you. You think, does Spencer Stasny or Mark Del Gaizo look at next season differently if Dante Fabro is or is not on the roster? This is one of those things, the cap, it has tentacles. It's not just dollars and cents. There are tentacles, and these decisions matter. So yeah, I agree with you. And again, my nerves can hardly take it. So
I know it's for everyone's sake, for all of our sakes, just do it, Barry.
For the love, but just do it, Barry. Yeah. So one of the challenges I think Nashville's going to face when the season kicks off is one that I don't think they can do I know they can't really do a darn thing about. They're just going to have to bear up under it. And I think that is their schedule. This Nashville Predators 24-25 schedule is a little bit woof if you're looking at it. They have 14 back-to-backs. Only 3 teams have more back-to-backs. Carolina, Toronto have 16. Montreal has 15. There's Nashville, 14 back-to-backs. No other team in the Central Division has that many back-to-backs, just Nashville. You come off of Christmas break, and they immediately go into a 6-game road trip. So, and can we just be honest and say, in the past, Nashville has not always come off of breaks guns a-blazing. Whether it's an individual player here or there or the team in general, again, let's look at the All-Star break. I don't think we need to revisit that whole thing from last season, but I think we can just say as an umbrella statement, not always an easy comeback from the All-Star break. Nashville comes back from the All-Star break in February, and they play Colorado, New Jersey, Florida, and Winnipeg. Now, those are home games, which I think helps, but you don't have adjustment periods when you are coming off of a break, and that's not always been something Nashville has been outstanding in. Start of the season, challenging schedule. End of the season, challenging schedule. And let's be honest, the travel, if you are the Nashville Predators, is not terrific. You are like the easternmost team in a Western Conference that you really have no business being in. Can we just be honest?
And all the cities in the East are much closer together than all the ones in the West.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a reason we preseason with Carolina, Tampa Bay, and Florida, y'all.
Yeah. God, it would. Do you know how many times I uttered that sentence as I got off of yet another flight at 3 a.m. with this team? I'm like, God, it would be so much better if we were in the East. Because like when you're in the West, you end up doing these road trips. Like if you're an Eastern team and you go play teams in the West, you usually do it as part of longer road trips because it's like, well, if we're going to be out here, let's just hit everyone.
Right.
Well, and you're in a Western, the Predators are in a Western conference that they have no business being in, and they are treated the same as if they are in Colorado or Vegas, which Colorado, first of all, close to nothing.
Right.
Absolutely nothing. And we would always end up, this is just a separate tangent. We would always end up going to Colorado on road trips coming from somewhere like Winnipeg or whatever. And we would have to go through customs and whatever. We get to the hotel at like 5 a.m.
Oh gosh.
Long story short, it is not fun.
Too old for that. I am way too old for that kind of
I'm too
travel.
old for that.
You go, Gus Nyquist.
Yeah, seriously. My respect, mad respect for Gus.
Well, and that was one of the questions that came up, and I can't remember what was the press conference where that came up. Was it with Steven Stamkos where they were talking about you're going to be doing different, it's going to be a different travel schedule because you are Nashville and the Western Conference. It is going to be an adjustment for him because, again, longer travel time, longer road trips, much later nights, earlier mornings. Like, it is a factor. And there's really nothing you can do about the schedule except hope that the Nashville Predators can come out and manage fatigue well and can kind of mentally kick off where they left off last season. Because again, early, like, hey, welcome to the season. We'd like to introduce you to the Dallas Stars right out of the gate. So
we believe you've met.
we remember some things. We remember some things. So yeah, I think the schedule is going to be a challenge. It's something they're going to have to manage and they're just going to have to bear up under, but I think it's going to be a challenge for the Nashville Predators. Coming up, we're going to talk about a couple other challenges that this team is going to face. And then, friends, we're going to play a game, an August-themed game of Takes from a Hat. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends at eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. That's the formula for winning championships, and it's also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, LED kits, and more. Whether you are into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back, because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. All right, Emma, what is another challenge that the Nashville Predators are going to be facing as they look ahead to 24-25?
So I think we kind of touched on this a little bit in I think it was the last episode, but we have talked about how having higher expectations comes with added pressure. And I think that one of the biggest challenges that this team is going to have this year, now they have all eyes on them because they were far and away the most aggressive team during the offseason, during free agency. They sent the biggest, boldest message like, hey, we're here. We have arrived. Now, Barry Trotz went out, did the work. Now this team has got to prove that he did the right thing. And I think that, now they've sent the message, but now they need to put their money where their mouth is and say, and actually let their play speak for itself. And actually, they're built like a contender, but they need to play like a contender because that's the message that they've sent. And so this is a team that has not been, now individual members of this team are used to being in the spotlight and being, on perennial contenders like
Right.
Marchessault, Stamkos, obviously Stanley Cup champions. Same with Luke Shen. You know, you still have Roman Josi, Philip Forsberg, Colton Sissons, you know, from the 17 Cup run. There are individuals who have experienced it, Ryan O'Reilly as well. But I think that as a whole, like this team has never been in a situation where they are going to be the center of attention as much as they are going into this year. And so I think that while it's easy, and that here we go, this is where the pessimism comes in. It's easy to be like, well, this is great. Like the Preds, we got all these shiny new toys and we're going to be really good now and we're going to be contenders. And it's like, well, now wait a minute. Because what that does is it raises the stakes, which means that you have more to lose now than you did
Right.
before. And so I think that now, like I said, got to back it up, got to put your money where your mouth is. And it's a different kind of spotlight. It's a different kind of pressure than what this team is used to. And some players on this team have literally never experienced it.
Yes.
So I think it's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting challenge to see. And this is why, you know, to bring a little tie a little optimistic bow on it, I think that it's good that you have guys like O'Reilly and Stamkos and people in the room who can lead by example because they know what it's like to be in this kind of situation. But it's going to be an adjustment, I think, for a lot of these players.
I love what you said about the fact that this team is built to be a contender, but they have to play like a contender. And it isn't just about on ice. It is about handling the spotlight. It is about handling pressure. It is about living up to a much higher expectation. And I think about players like Tommy Novak, and people will say, oh my gosh, you know, he just was nowhere in the postseason. I don't think that was a spotlight issue. I think that was a physicality issue. But you need to see Tommy Novak take another step. You need to see Luke Evangelista take another step. And of course, the optimist in me is saying we're going to see that, but that has to happen with a lot more eyes on them. And let's face it, I mean, Nashville, we're a little bit like the cousin who brings like Jello salad with like shaved carrots in it to the family dinner. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, good to see you.
Please elaborate.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Have you ever? There is a Jello salad with the slice, like the shaved carrots.
Yes, but I'm struggling with how are the Predators the Jello salad relative?
They're the Jello where like you're like, oh, they're here. Haven't seen them in a while. Okay. Hope they're doing well. But you don't really sit down and chat with them. Yeah, and you sure don't eat their food.
Yeah. Okay, I get it now.
They don't bring something really amazing to the table.
Yeah.
Well, all of the sudden, Nashville's showing up with the buffalo chicken and you know, and the
maybe spicy margaritas. That's right.
And you know, it's a different way of operating. Now, I will say this, Andrew Brunette does not seem like somebody who will allow that to, you know, outside noise to sort of penetrate what he's trying to do with the team. I think he did a great job with that last season. I think that's something that's a part of his wheelhouse. The other thing I will say, and I'm seeing this a lot online, is people are, you know, making their predictions and they're saying Barry Trotz is going to win GM of the year. I mean, it's just no contest. Well, if the Nashville Predators don't make the playoffs, Barry Trotz is not going to be looking like the GM of the year. So there's a lot of eyes and a lot of pressure. And it is a very different scenario. Like you said, this has not happened since that 2017 Cup run. Maybe a little bit that next season with the President's Trophy, because they were kind of expected to make a push to get back there, and they didn't. But it's been some time. And, I think, you know, young players have to develop under that.
Yeah. And this team, like, there's always been pressure to, like, make the playoffs. Honestly, last year was the one year that they really didn't have any pressure to make the playoffs, and they went and did it. So, but now the goal is, it's not just about making the playoffs anymore. It's like, no, we don't want to just make it in. We want to actually get there and make some noise. And so now I think, whether that looks like making it to the Western Conference final or winning the division, I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to make any like super specific, prescriptions about what they need to do, but I think that it's pretty clear they need to do more than just make the playoffs.
Right. Yeah. And it's not going to just fall in place quickly. Like,
No.
there's a lot of adjustments that have to happen. So expectations, they're going to have to bear up under them because they're not going to go away for Nashville. Those expectations, and they're going to be called short pretty quickly. I think Nashville is going to be written off pretty quickly because expectations are high. And if they don't come out of the gate hot, people may say this is not going to be their year. We'll see. It's a long season, but that season comes with pressure. Coming up, Emma and I are going to wrap up this episode with an August themed takes from a hat. And trust me when I say you either really do or really don't want to miss this segment. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Look, we all love sports. We love them so much. We never want there to be an off season, but the playoffs have wrapped up and we're getting fewer and fewer games to watch. And the sports, they are not sportsin' like we want them to. But FanDuel lets you keep the sports going whenever you want. All you have to do is open up the FanDuel app and dream up bets anytime you're in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There is something for everyone every day, all summer long. So head on over to fanduel.com and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. All right, Emma, we are pulling out the greatest piece of hockey swag ever, the 10-gallon foam Nashville Predators hat. I just wish it fit in the frame because I would wear it every episode.
I kind of love that it doesn't, though. It just adds to the comedic value.
The mystery.
The mystique of the foam hat.
Foam hat. And what Anne pulls out of the foam hat. Oh, here we go. We're starting off with just a sweet one. August is National Dog Month. Do you have a favorite Preds pet that you have seen in real life or on social media? Besides Minka, let's just talk about
I was going to say,
here.
Excuse me, one moment. Minka, would you like to come over here?
Minka has her little paws over her ears because she does not want to hear the betrayal.
She decides to be camera shy, but she did make an appearance earlier in the show. And I will say she is my favorite Preds pet because she did attend one of UC Saros's dog park meetups and she got her picture taken with him, and the Preds Foundation used it on one of their promotional things last year. And can I just say, like, I have one very photogenic dog, so
she is, as we say in my generation, or not, totes adorbs.
She is
totes adorbs. Yeah. Can I tell you the one that I follow? And I'm almost embarrassed about this, except I'm not sorry at all. Do you know that former Predator, former Milwaukee Admiral, Devin Cooley? Do you know what I'm going? He has a pet rabbit, y'all.
He has a bunny.
Tito Cooley. If you are not following Tito Cooley on Instagram, you are wasting valuable social media time. Tito Cooley brings me just an obscene amount of joy. He is adorable and just has all kinds of adventures. He was flying somewhere last week. So
yes,
I'm a big fan of Tito Cooley, but I do love seeing like the pets. Dante Fabro, he has a chocolate lab.
Cash. Yeah.
They are besties. Like
yes.
They are besties.
Yeah, I've met Cash. He's a good one. Trying to think. Another sweetheart, again, former Pred, but Tanner Janot has a dog, Oakley. Very, very sweet. he posts and his wife posts about Oakley a lot, but she's very, very sweet and just so sweet with their now 2 little ones. And one thing, I'm a sucker for anything that's like a dog and a baby.
Oh, come
Like
on.
a dog being sweet with a baby. I'm like,
Come
oh
on.
my God, it's just
Done.
I can't. It's so cute.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. We're here for all of the pet. I'm here for all the pet stuff.
Yes.
I really am. I followed Matt Duchesne's dog Paisley well before I followed Matt Duchesne.
Oh yeah. Well, do you see the Duchesnes have another dog
They
now?
do. They do.
Merle.
I'm a
His name is
little bit
Merle.
indignant on behalf of Paisley, but I'm going to let it slide.
Well, listen, Paisley is getting up there, and so I think Merle can learn the ways of the world from Paisley.
Paisley.
And yes.
Okay. Oh, here we go. August is, and I'm not making this up, y'all, National Catfish Month. So this is a 2-part question for you, Emma. Number
That's
1,
appropriate.
would you ever throw a dead catfish on the ice? And number 2, what object do you think would be a good tradition to throw on the ice at a Preds game instead of a catfish? Not that we want to change it, but I'm just saying if it wasn't the catfish, what would be a good object?
Well, I, as a general rule, whether in the context of a hockey game or not, do not enjoy touching raw fish with my hands or anything really. So I'm gonna go with no. I would rather not.
Yes.
If it's wrapped in paper or something, maybe we could talk, but just like I'm all for the traditions. I love them, but
Salmonella, folks.
yeah, it's icky.
Yeah.
It's slimy and just ugh. As far as what could be thrown instead,
That's a tough one.
it is a tough one. I don't know. This is kind of cheating, but I think is it the Hershey Bears that do the teddy bear toss?
I desperately want to go to a teddy bear toss.
I love that so much. And I think it's a charity thing. Like I think all the stuffed animals are donated to like a children's charity, but it's like the event of the year where they have this teddy bear toss and everybody brings stuffed animals. And it is the coolest looking thing because they all throw them on the ice and it is just massive. Like the
feet tall of stuff.
Yes, and players are like jumping into them like a pile of leaves. Like I love it. I think it's amazing. Like I don't know. I think that's really cool. But that's their thing. I will say, as a proud graduate of Wake Forest University, go Deeks, we have a tradition that's called rolling the quad. So the quad, the main like grassy area on campus, lined with trees, very pretty. After a big win in football or basketball, or really when I was a student there, we were not very good at anything. So we took the wins wherever we could get them. But traditionally, it's supposed to be reserved for a big win, like when we beat Duke in basketball, big deal.
Yeah.
Everyone would take toilet paper and run out and TP all the trees on the quad. And it looked like if you got enough people out there, it looked like snow. Like it was really cool. I mean, very not environmentally friendly. And you knew the week leading up to a football game, I was stockpiling toilet paper. I was hiding it like under my bed because otherwise I'm like, I'm not gonna have any toilet paper for the weekend.
You were prepping for 2020 before it ever happened.
I was like, I was built for this moment when that happened. No, but I think like anything like that, that or the teddy bear toss where it's like it completely transforms something, like where it's just like a lot of something on I think it's very cool.
Yeah. Teddy bear toss is literally a bucket list item for me.
Ugh, I love it.
I mean, I am obsessed with that event. So yeah, I am 100% here for the teddy bear toss. I like a good hat trick as well. I will tell you this, when my husband and I would go to games and somebody would have 2 goals, he would look at me and he would be like, "Don't you touch my hat." Because he always, my husband wears a hat a lot and he was like, "Don't you touch my hat." So we had very specific rules about what could and couldn't happen with a
I
hat trick.
think that's what, you go to a hockey game and it's like when you go to something where like you're going to be working or you're going to get dirty and people say like wear clothes that you don't care about. When you go to a hockey game, you
True.
got to tell them like wear a hat you don't
Wear a
care
hat you don't care
about.
about. Come on. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Okay, I pulled one out. It's not my favorite, but let's see.
You
Oh,
can
okay.
you can
Here
pull
we
a
go.
different one if you
I
want.
did. I
Okay.
surely did. August is National Immunization Month. Look at the things we're learning today. What mistake do you most want to see Nashville immune from next season?
Blowing a lead,
Oh, girl.
blowing a 2-goal lead.
In the last
They
13 seconds.
Oh, jeez.
Sorry.
They got better. Like I will say,
Mhm.
we saw an improvement last season, but it was a pattern, a very disturbing pattern for a while where it was like this team could not play with a lead.
Yeah.
It's like they didn't know how to win.
That's a skill set. Just as much as coming from behind is a skill set, playing with a lead is a skill set for a team. You just
They
can't check around with that stuff.
No, and they were snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. It felt like all the time, and it was
Yes.
like, oh, it was so frustrating. I mean, frustrating for fans, I'm sure, but for me, because obviously it's all about me and how this affects me.
It is.
It was very frustrating as a writer when you basically have your whole story written and then you got to scrap it
Do you know how
because
many delete, 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 delete?
because look, the facts of the game don't change. Like the stats are the same, like the actual events are the same, but the tone and the way that you portray things very different. So
Yes.
it's yeah.
Oh, yes. The delete button got a lot of work last season for that very reason. That's a great answer. That's a great
Mhm.
answer. Let's wrap it up with a food question because that's who I am as a person. August is National Sandwich Month. I've never been so happy to celebrate anything. What is your personal favorite meal or snack at Bridgestone Arena on game day?
Ooh. We
I always like
talking
this question because I think if people are going to come to games, I feel like we need to direct them to the best options.
Okay, so this is like concessions, not
Sure.
media meal
Yeah.
stuff. Okay.
Yeah. Which
All
the
right.
media meals are just okay for me.
They are for the most part, except fajita night was the best night. Fajita night is always
Too
really good.
spicy. Can't
Oh
do
yeah,
fajita.
that's true.
Yeah, but go ahead.
Hmm. See, the sad part is I don't eat a lot of concessions at the game because I just eat the media meal. But
Would
I'm
you like
gonna.
me to take this one? Because, honey, I will unfurl my list.
Well, I was gonna go very broad with it,
Go
and
very
I was
broad.
gonna say if you ever, as a fan, if you ever have the chance to go to a game and get Lexus Lounge passes, the
Mhm.
food in the Lexus Lounge, oh my goodness,
So
so
good.
good. All of it, so good. They have a dessert wall down there, like an entire wall of dessert. Now, I'm not even like I consider myself not really much of a sweet tooth. I
Mhm.
prefer the savory, but I get excited about a dessert wall. So I will say go to the Lexus Lounge if you get the chance. It's all you can eat. You
Oh,
will eat too much, but it'll be
why
worth it.
not?
Yeah.
Why not? Okay, I will tell you, I have a routine. I do it before every game. I never eat the media meal because it's usually something like fajitas that's a little spicy. Sometimes they try to get tacos in there, and I'm like, I don't know if I can trust you.
Yeah.
So, the best thing, and I do this before almost every game, is they have a grilled cheese concession stand on the first floor. They make the best grilled cheese. And when I say grilled cheese, I'm not talking about just like you slapped it in the frying pan. I mean, it's got like multiple kinds of cheese. And then they have a version where you can put different kinds of meats in it. And it's like buttery and crisp. I'm telling you, it is. And I tell them this almost every home game, and I'm pretty sure that they're tired of me. It's the best grilled cheese you can get anywhere. It's phenomenal. And I know it seems crazy, but it is the best. So, first floor, right by the main entrance, grilled cheese stand. It will knock your socks off. The other thing I will say is what is the name of the restaurant that just opened up? I just totally drew a blank on it.
Oh, the BetMGM.
BetMGM. They have something called a smash burger. Best burger I've ever had in my life. And friends, I have had a lot of burgers in my life. It's got like a special sauce on it. It becomes with get the smash burger. Or if you want something like quick and a little bit cheaper, get the grilled cheese. Life changing.
Okay.
Life
Well, I'm hungry now.
I know. I know. I'm literally like, when does the season start? I want that grilled cheese. I don't even make grilled cheese anymore because I'm like, I can't compete.
No.
Why would I do that? Ridiculous. So that is some challenges for the Nashville Predators. That is a little August themed takes from a hat to get you going and maybe leading you to some snacks after you wrap up this episode. Before we do sign off, though, do want to let you know that you can be joining our Insiders program. You can be messaging Emma and I if you have post-podcast questions or thoughts any time of day or night, although we do sleep some. But you can join our insider program. There is information in the description of this video, also in our bio, if you want to join in and be able to talk Nashville Predators hockey with us anytime you want. Also, Emma, let everyone know where they can find you and where they can find your work.
You can find me on social media at Emma_Lingen, and you can find my work at the Hockey News.
And you can find me on social media at AnnK_Mama on Ice. You can find my work at Penalty Box Radio as well. That's going to do it for today's episode of the Locked On Predators podcast. Thank you again for making us your first listen of the day. We will be back again with an all new episode. We'll see you soon.